Tim Burchett talking about Tennessee baseball on the Senate floor. What do you make of that face value?
Okay, face value, I wouldn't have had a problem with it if he had made it to a larger issue of Congress needs to analyze how the NCAA is treating its athletes, because then it comes to bettering the lives of people, which the federal government is responsible for trying to do, right? They're responsible for the, like that. That's what. Okay, but put it this way. I was totally for the congressional hearings on steroids in baseball in 2005. Everybody got mad at it, but guys, there were kids in high school dying of steroids because they thought that's the only way they could make it to the majors. It was a real issue. Okay, there needed to be a congressional hearing on it. Now, did they need to bring the former players in to talk about it? No, that was a show trial at that point. But like, I was for those hearings. So I wouldn't mind if Tim Burchett had said we need to figure out a way to make sure kids aren't being mistreated or abused by the NCAA. That ain't what he did yesterday, though.
Now wait, let me stop you right there. And what's the young man's first name? Osunda.
Alberto
Osuna. He still could have a fantastic baseball career without ever facing a pitch at Tennessee.
That's my point.
Yes.
This was not about bettering. Tim Burchett's stance was not about anything like societally speaking of what the NCAA or what should be done for college athletes. It was about, I want this player to play for my team.
Let's play the clip. And in the meantime, if you can make it a poll question, should Tim Burchett find better things to do than defend Tennessee baseball, somewhere along those lines? So let's go ahead and play the clip now, as this is Tim Burchett talking about college baseball when, I don't know, I think there's more pressing things going on with our country, but he doesn't. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to bring much-needed attention to an extraordinary ball player and young man and a ball hopeful. His name is Alberto Osuna. He was born in America, and he's affectionately known as Berto. He transferred to the University of Tennessee in January after an impressive career at North Carolina and Walters State Community College, where he knocked out 45 home runs and knocked in 140 runs over 3 seasons. Despite following all the necessary steps to secure eligibility to play for the University of Tennessee, the NCAA, in their infinite wisdom, has blocked his opportunity. Students at UT have painted the rock to my left here to show their support for Berto in hopes that he might play his final season with the Vols at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. He wants to do something for his family. This is what this is all about. And over a minute, I don't have time to explain it all, but this situation just isn't about Berto. It's about ensuring that student athletes are on a level playing field, Mr. Speaker, against a bureaucratic machine and nightmare that the NCAA has become, and it seemingly continues to let down student athletes they claim to serve. Just follow the dollars, Mr. Speaker. I urge the NCAA to take some serious action and grant Alberto the immediate eligibility he deserves and take the necessary steps to prioritize the well-being of their student athletes, ensuring that opportunities for success are not blocked by unnecessary red tape. Osuna left his whole life in Tampa to come to Knoxville and play for Coach Tony Vitello and the Vols. The NCAA needs to do the right thing, free Berto, give him the time he deserves. The Vols are stacked again this year, Mr. Speaker. They're coming off a national championship. They're winning again. It's not imperative that he gets on the team for them to win. It's just the right thing. NCAA, do the right dadgum thing.
Okay, that's the silliest thing that I've ever heard. Really? I mean, come on. I mean, what's the poll question?
All right, I'm going to set it up now. Tim Burchett speaking on Alberto Osuna.
Okay, now Travis says, I got this on Twitter a lot. He is a representative for Knoxville. If this is happening to my kid, I'd want him to speak. I'd want him to deal with the homeless issue on Merchants Drive is what I would want him to do, because there are more homeless people on Merchants Drive than there are at a Tennessee baseball game. If you go early morning and lift there at National Fitness Center, which I do. So, I think there are other more pressing things. Let me ask you this quite simply. Is this about getting a little bit of, getting a few more votes, winning some people over, or is this about truly righting something that is unjust?
This is about winning people over and grandstanding. The whole message, was there anything in there about reforms or suggested reforms? Did you hear anything, Dave, about
No.
suggested reforms?
No.
Nothing. So what is the point of that speech? Congress, the House floor is about debate and deliberation to figure out policies that you think would help the American people and your constituents. What did he propose there? He proposed literally no reforms whatsoever. So that was a waste of time. And by the way, Game No Bueno, I get your point standing up for his constituents. My point is, what did he do to stand up for his constituents? One, Alberto Osuna is not a constituent there. I don't think he votes in Knoxville. So technically he's not a constituent.
Well, Tennessee baseball fans.
So you're standing up for Tennessee baseball fans who wanted to see him play. But more importantly, what did he propose? Something that his constituents would want? Did he propose a reform? Because I didn't hear one in there at all.
Okay, thank you, General Ursus, for backing me. If this wasn't happening at UT, would Burchett even care? No, we absolutely would not. Steven says, Dave, I think he's just wasting time that could be spent on something more important. Thank you. Nobody agreed with me on Twitter when I made fun of him. And Tim Burchett is not a big Dave Hooker fan because let's just say back in the day when I'd have a few pops, I could get maybe a little flirty. Nothing nefarious, but a little flirty. And one time he showed up at the same establishment I was at, and I've encouraged, I didn't know it was his girlfriend at the time, but I encouraged her to come out to the car and have a sip of moonshine with me because I just bought a bottle of moonshine. He did not like that. So Tim Burchett is not a big Dave Hooker fan, so I wasn't worried about going ahead and burning that bridge. It's been burned. And by the way,
I did not know that.
And I'll give Burchett a lot of credit. He hits way, way outside of his range. She was smoking, and that's not the only smoking lady he's been with. I mean, yeah. I mean, look, to be a little bit goofy, he does well.
And I'm not here, Republican, Democrat, whatever. I'm not here to hate on Tim Burchett fully. Last week, he actually introduced a bill that I'm a fan of, which is to ban members of Congress trading stocks. I don't know how that's allowed already. That's insane that members of Congress can trade stocks. Like, they manipulate. They're in control of the stock market in a certain way. So, like, the idea that they have that power is insane. And kudos to him for introducing legislation to ban stock trading for members of Congress. However, this is a total waste of time. And I'm not one of those that thinks it's not. Like, do you disagree with me, Dave? Did you think the steroid hearings were a waste of time in 2005? I thought they were important.
Yeah, I'm reading the message board. I'm sorry. Unsung says Hooker was trying to grab up his woman. Just for the record, she did say yes before Tim overheard it and stopped it right then.
That's kind of funny, actually.
She said, "Okay, I've never had moonshine." I was like, "Well, you're about to." And yeah. But I was not trying to pick her up, I promise. And I didn't have the moonshine on me because we were at an establishment and the moonshine was in my car. That wasn't an excuse to get her in my car.
Okay, sure. So, in all honesty, though, no, what were your thoughts in the I'm trying to remember. Oh, what were your thoughts on the steroid hearing in baseball in 2005 when that all blew up?
I thought it was silly.
You thought it was silly?
Yeah.
I mean, they did root steroids out of high school sports with that, though.
Yeah, but listen, if you want to do steroids, I don't have really a problem with it.
Oh, I have a huge problem with it. Dave won 75 home runs and 800-foot home runs.
Okay, well, I'll tell you a story. I know a guy. He was about 5'8". The rest of Powell's offensive line was, 300 plus pounds. And he knew that he was smaller, 220 pounds at most, and he had to do a little something to help out. And it helped out, and he got to play.
But what happens?
He wouldn't have been able to play otherwise.
Because he wasn't good enough to play at that point or didn't have the physical stature. Sorry. I mean, look, it wasn't. I mean, you know why Barry Bonds took steroids, right? The real reason?
Yeah, because Mark McGwire and Sosa were getting all the pup.
And Bonds, we all know, no steroids, Bonds was better. And Bonds was like, if y'all are going to give them all the coverage, I'll do steroids and show you what a superstar on steroids really looks like. And basically had the 4 greatest seasons in baseball history. Shouldn't have, no, you couldn't have that. They were killing high school kids in that time.
Killing high school kids?
Yes. Yes, there were stories of high school kids committing suicide, killing family members, like because they were doing steroids because of the pressure to try to get to the majors. It became a real problem.
I don't think so. I know somebody else that did steroids that when he was in high school to help him get to double, triple A, or whatever the case may be. I think he got up to double A, but I didn't have a problem with it. Yeah, he had an anger issue, but I just didn't pick fights with him.
Okay, I'm not saying if you want to take steroids on your personal time, that's none of my business.
But if you take steroids on your, I mean, okay, I'll be honest with you. I've considered it.
Okay, but
I've considered a cycle of trend.
I'm not here to hate on or say anything about steroids on your personal time or whatever you want to do. If it's in the field of competition, though, the unfortunate thing is that if you take it, if everybody's taking it, then you have to take it to compete, Dave.
Have you heard of the enhanced games that Donald Trump has endorsed? Have you heard of that?
There's an enhanced games where you on steroids, basically.
You can do anything you want.
Okay, that's fine. Let's do that. That's fine. But in the field of play, because you're taking a risk and you assume the risk, but in the field of play of baseball, football, or basketball, Dave, if everybody's doing steroids in baseball, then if you don't want to do it, you're not going to make the majors because you have to do it now to just compete.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Steven getting back to the moonshine and Tim Burchett's girlfriend said Dave trying to get her drunk on East Tennessee's finals. No, I wasn't doing that. Now, one thing I do want to address really quick. Ballsman said steroids don't hit the baseball. I do. Steroids are for recovery. That's actually not true. What they were on, what Barry Bonds was on, improved your eyesight, improved your reflexes.
Improved everything.
It made you a better human.
Yeah.
With the exception of shrunken testicles.
I think what Volsman was talking about was the human growth hormone. Yeah, but Jose Canseco said that it may shrink your testicles, but it might make something else actually a little bit bigger.
So, all right,
which one do you prefer?
If we do that shirt off show, then I am doing a cycle of trend before we do that. So I will be
doing a cycle of trend.
Yeah, no trend. TREN. It's a common steroid. So I was actually thinking about it this morning.
And by the way, it also, we know it doesn't make you.
What's worse for you? A cycle of trend or the guy who goes home and drinks a case of beer every night?
Obviously, the guy who goes home and drinks a case of beer. But Dave, you're not. If everybody in baseball went home and drank a case of beer, you're not going to have to do that to compete with them. Like, you're probably going to get an advantage, right? I mean, that's like, you shouldn't rule out. That's like, who's a track star? Sha'Carri Richardson. She got banned from the Olympics because she was smoking weed. How dumb is that? Weed doesn't give you a performance enhancement when you run track.
I agree, but that's a slippery slope because Justin Gatlin was supposedly on Adderall, and Adderall can help you as well. So,
but that's the thing. Adderall can help you. Marijuana does not help you.
No,
you shouldn't be banned for marijuana, liquor. Maybe cocaine, because cocaine might help you. But
well, the what do they call the Reddies or that they used to have in the 60s and 70s? They were amphetamines. They'd have a bowl of them in Major League Baseball locker rooms. Have you heard that before?
Haven't heard that, but that's insane.
Yeah, I mean, there were. I mean, to get through the season, you got to realize in Major League Baseball, you only have like 4 days off where you're not traveling or playing a game.
Oh yeah, it's insane.
So I mean, there are guys that drink an entire pot of coffee before a game, so that's not unusual.